Hey, fellow YouTubers, JJ the Trucker coming to you from Southern California. Check this out. Yeah, this isn't green screen, baby. I'm actually at the beach, at a hotel on the beach. It's nice. The hotel's not that great, so I'm not really gonna tell you where it is or anything like that, because I don't know. Don't care for the hotel, but the balcony right here on the beach, that part's amazing. And yeah, so why am I here? Well, taking vacation. I love trucking, and I love all the different places that it takes you, including a delivery that happened to be near the beach. So I'm like, you know what? I don't have another load yet. I'm gonna go ahead and take some time off. Might as well, right? I mean, I'm here. I'm at the beach. I was expecting a little bit better weather, but it's been cloudy and gloomy. They keep saying that the sun's gonna come out, but it hasn't. It hasn't, not yet, but maybe later on today it will. Maybe tomorrow. I'm here for a few days anyway. So, so as promised, yes, I'm back, and we're going to be talking about the money of trucking. How have I been doing right now with the economy being as it is, trucking being as it is? Why is it like this? Why are we hearing all this kind of stuff? So let's go ahead and get right on into it, shall we? All right. So trucking is it's really all about supply and demand. If you understand supply and demand economics, then you'll completely understand how trucking works. Basically, there's supply and there's demand. The higher the supply of something with the lower demand, the lower the price of that product is going to be, because you've got a lot you got to get rid of. You don't have a lot of people that want it, right? So you got to drop the price down to create a higher demand so you can reduce your supply, right? Vice versa, if you don't have a lot of supply, then and you got a lot of demand for the product, you can raise those prices because you don't have a lot to sell, right? So you got all this demand. They're gonna be out there wanting to buy this stuff. The demand may go down a little bit because of the higher prices, but it'll allow you to build your supply back up as well. This is where the people don't want it, but where the businesses do. On the flip side, this is where the businesses don't want it, but the people do. Anyways, again, it depends on which side you're on, but supply and demand dictates prices in pretty much anything and everything here in a capitalist economy like we've got here in America. It's no different with trucking. Absolutely none. If you have a whole lot of loads that need to be delivered, but you don't have a lot of truck drivers, what do you think is going to happen to those rates? Those rates are going to be high. Those delivery rates are going to be really high because all these people, they want their stuff delivered, but there's not a lot of truck drivers out there, so the truck drivers get to be choosy. They get to pick the higher price loads, even the ones that are way up here. You can't even see it off the screen. Okay, we get to pick the higher loads, and so that forces the rates to get even higher and higher, because those who are trying to offload their loads for real cheap, we're going to be like, forget it. We don't want that. There's not enough of us to need that. There's plenty of loads way up there. So that's when rates are really, really good. And that's what happened last year. Last year, that was exactly what was going on. A lot of drivers had gotten out because of COVID. The economy was really catching up. Inflation was going sky high. People were really getting back to spending their money. They had lots of new jobs out there. People were making more money than they had ever been making before because of the great reshuffle. So there was a lot of stuff, a lot of product needed to be shipped, and we didn't have a lot of drivers. But what happens is that gets a lot of drivers or potential drivers into trucking, because they're like, man, look how much money these guys are making. These rates are insane. I'm going to buy me a truck, pay me a big old truck note. It's okay because the rates are way up here. Okay? But we start getting more and more truck drivers in there. Okay? Now, supply and demand, we're still looking good. We're still looking all right. But we can't be as choosy. So the rates get to come down a little bit. Well, then when you got the economy slowing down, okay, inflation has taken its toll, interest rates have gone up, people are slowing their roll when it comes to purchasing items. Okay, that means fewer shipments. The fewer shipments, the more truckers, and look what has happened. And this is where we are at right now. A lot of drivers are in the field right now, and there's just not a lot of stuff that needs to be shipped out. So what happens? Rates are they're down. They're really, really low. So what happened now? This is a cycle in trucking. Even regardless of the economy, it's still a cycle within trucking, because now what's going on is all these drivers that are in, a lot of drivers are getting out. Why? Because one, they can't afford their truck payments. Two, they can't afford their bills. They're like, what happened to these great rates that we were getting? I came in with these high rates, and now these rates aren't high anymore. They're really low. I can't afford to pay my bills. I can't afford to pay my mortgage, my 3 cars, my spouse, my children, my child support, everything else. All their expenses that they've got. Maybe they're taking care of family members. They thought they were going to be making a lot more money, and the rates are a lot lower now than they were. So they're like, okay, I got to get out. So they're selling their trucks, they're getting out. So we still have a few shipments here, but fewer drivers. Okay, and that's what's going on right now. We're in that range right now. Now, eventually, we're going to again have a shortage of drivers. The economy is going to kind of starting to actually kind of destabilize a bit. The S&P 500, the stocks are doing okay. We didn't get an interest rate hike this last quarter. We might again this next quarter, but they're signaling that it might be the last one. Some people are saying that this recession's been canceled, that we were going to have. But, varying opinions. Either way, the economy is starting to kind of go up a little bit, and we're going to start seeing some parity in there where rates are going to go back to normal. Now, I don't mean last year's rates. Last year was not normal. We were banking buck last year. I'm telling you, I made so much money last year. It was insane. I went on 2 cruises, people. That's how much money I was making, and still saved up a lot of money. So, where was I here? So anyways, we're getting back to some parity, or we're going to get back to some parity eventually, to where the rates are going to get back to normal. But right now, they're not quite there. We're still a bit on the low side. So what does that all really translate to? Well, when it comes to rates out there in trucking, I can throw numbers out there, but you really can't compare apples to apples, because every trucking company does things just a little differently. Whether you're getting paid per mile, even those who are getting paid per mile, what other benefits and discounts do you get? What other perks do you get to go along with that? So you might be making a lot per mile, but not getting any perks. You might be making a little bit less per mile, but getting a ton of perks. I've never ran per mile as an owner-operator. I've always been paid by the load. But the same thing goes, what is that by the load? Are you talking after the cut of the company you're leasing on to, like Landstar or Prime, or any of the others? Or if you're an independent owner-operator, you still have all your expenses. You get discounts with some of these places and not with others. It's really hard to compare apples to apples. So what I'm going to do is just talk about the price of the load itself, not on a per mile basis, but just the price of the load before anybody's cut, before any expenses, before any of that, okay? Now, I know a lot of people really look at that per mile, but if you've watched my videos at all in the past, you know that I really could almost care less about the per mile rate. For me, it's all about per day. And why? Well, if you look at everything that I pay for, my truck payment isn't per mile. Okay, my permits aren't per mile. My most of my fees, most of the things that I pay for, are not per mile. My bills are not per mile. These are all set on a per week or a per month type basis. A lot of permits are per year. What is per mile? Fuel. Fuel is per mile. Let's see. You can say maintenance and tires are per mile. Because you want to put so much per mile away for that kind of stuff, if that's how you need to budget. But if you really look at it, like I know my tires, I've got a tire emergency fund in case of a blowout or some kind of emergency. But as far as regular wear and tear in tires, yeah, I can break it down per mile. But for the most part, I know that a set of tires or each tire is going to last about 2 years. Okay. Well, now that I know that, I can break that down to a per day. Okay. Maintenance. I know, sure, you got to get your maintenance done at certain mile intervals, but I know that I average about 2,500 miles per week anyway. So once I know that, I know, oh, hold on, gotta stop that alarm there. I know how long it's going to take until my next maintenance interval, and I know about how much I'm going to be paying per year on maintenance. So there we go. I can break that down per day. So really, fuel is the only thing that's per mile, and even then, I know how much it takes to fill up the tank, and I know that I'm filling up my tank about every other day. Okay, maybe every day and a half, depending on how much. And those are the days that I'm running. So not only that, but fuel prices fluctuate anyway, so it's really hard to get a per mile, real basis off of that. Plus, we get fuel surcharge, which kind of covers that anyway, at least covers most of it. So I really don't feel the benefit of breaking it down per mile. Per day is more beneficial because that way I know how much I'm getting. So what is the breakdown on per day? Like, how much do I really want to be making per day? Well, at Landstar, okay, because I know how much Landstar takes out, I know how much my permits and all my fixed costs are going to be. It's nice to be able to get $1,000 a day on average. Okay, when the economy was doing really well last year, I was doing $1,200 minimum per day. That was my minimum. I would set my load alerts up $1,200 per day minimum. Oftentimes I was getting $1,300, $1,400, $1,500, $1,800 per day. Now those were more exceptions than the rule, but I was never dispatching for under $1,200 a day, which, man, was so nice. It was so nice. Then the economy started going down, which I anticipated. I'd saved up for it. I set myself up properly for that. And so eventually I had to go down to 1,100 a day, and then 1,000 per day, and 900. And right now I'm really trying to hold on to that 800 per day. So 800 per day. So we're down from 1,200 a day minimum to 800 a day is really my minimum. I'm really trying not to do anything less than that. But some activity back here. But the nice thing is, I have built up a relationship with a couple of agents. I do have a couple of runs that are almost consistent, and those runs still pay around 11, anywhere from 1,000 to 1,100 a day. So I'm still doing pretty darn well. You also have to keep this in mind when it comes to these prices. These prices are inclusive of fuel surcharge. Okay? Meaning the fuel surcharge is already built into that. So it's not like we're getting, let's just take a load that's $1,000 and it's going to take 1 day. All right. It's not like it's $1,000 and then you get fuel surcharge on top of that. No, it's $1,000 and then fuel surcharge is taken out of that. Now, I get 100% of that fuel surcharge. Landstar doesn't get any of that at all. I get 100% of that, which reduces the percentage, the amount that I have to pay to Landstar. But you got to keep in mind, fuel surcharge is based on the national average for fuel. So a lot of the rates, the rates have gone down because of supply and demand. But rates have also gone down because fuel prices have dropped dramatically. Last year, our rates were fantastic and everything, and we were making a lot of money, but fuel was through the roof. Remember what happened to fuel when the Ukraine war started? We started sanctioning Russia and all that stuff. Fuel just skyrocketed. It was through the roof. Well, so were the fuel surcharges. As long as you were getting good fuel mileage, everybody was, bitching and moaning for nothing. We were getting paid. We were getting paid all that money back in fuel surcharges. But now people are thinking, oh, the rates are trash. They're really low. And they are, but they're not as low as you can really think about it because the fuel surcharge has dropped dramatically because fuel prices have dropped dramatically. We're almost back to, to normal, I guess you would call it. We are actually back to normal when it comes, if you adjust for the crazy inflation we've had. Fuel prices are actually low right now if you adjust for that. I don't know if I'm quite willing to do that yet, but fuel prices are lower, fuel surcharge is lower, and therefore that overall total rate is going to be lower. As an example, a perfect example, one of these loads that I run regularly from Southern California to Texas, I run it pretty regular. As long as they've got one and I'm in the area, I'm running that load. Okay, that load pays the same amount every single time on line haul, but it pays the national average on fuel surcharge. Well, that load, back in the day, last year, was paying really, really well. Okay, as fuel prices went down, that load started paying less and less and less and less and less and less, and now that load's paying a lot less than it was before. But the line haul is exactly the same. The only thing that's changed is the fuel surcharge. The fuel surcharge has gone down, but so is my cost for fuel. So am I really making less money? No, I'm not. Not at all. I'm making the same amount. I'm pocketing the same amount of money. In fact, maybe a little bit more because the Landstar's cut is based on a percentage. I don't know. So I don't know where I was going with that one. Maybe that part's not true because the line haul is the same. So scratch that last part. Pretend I didn't say it. But no, I'm making the same amount of money, even though the rates look lower and the rate per mile is lower than it was. Making the same. So how am I doing overall is the bottom line here. I'm doing fine. I really am. I've set myself up for this economy. I knew it was coming. I think there were plenty of warnings. And despite the fact that I've got a really high truck payment, I still anticipated this and I saved up money just in case. I have not had to dip into my savings because I've, again, planned for it. And I'm still doing okay. I'm still getting those good loads. The only time that it really hurts is those loads going back and forth are not consistent. Sometimes the agent just doesn't have it. I've got a backup agent that has loads that go back and forth too. It doesn't pay as well, but still pays pretty good. But every once in a while, it just so happens that I can't get either one of them. And then I'm stuck. Now I'm stuck taking a low-paying load just to get, hopefully keep me on track to where I can pick up another SoCal to Texas load again. But sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes it's like, I got to take a load going who knows where, off to somewhere else, and now I'm stuck in the regular bind of trying to find these loads. Sometimes you get lucky and get a good load. Sometimes you don't. So let me just throw some numbers out here for you, and then we will wrap this up. I'm going to look at the Landstar load board, and by the way, this is not proprietary information. In fact, if you want to see the Landstar load board, go to landstar.com and sign up for a free demo. They will actually put you on a Zoom call that will actually show you a demo of the load board, and it's the actual load board. They're actually showing you the actual live Landstar load board as it is. It's just a read only, so you can't go and book loads with it while you're in this demo. But you can actually see it, and you can ask questions. You can have the moderator look up specific loads for you. And you can really see what's going on. All right, so right now, without any search criteria whatsoever, there are, I don't know if you can see that, 39,000 loads. Now this is all loads, all platforms within Landstar. This is everything. So we're going to narrow this down a little bit. Okay. I've got some saved searches here. If I narrow this down to okay, so I just want to put everything in here. So all locations, Um, 0, with no minimums or anything like that. Okay. Um, Van only. Okay, 53-foot van only, max weight 43,000 pounds, only the United States. Okay, and let's go with none on that, and none on that. All right, so basically the only restriction now is that we're in the United States only doing van. Okay, come on. It's making me put a rate in there. I was going to do rate 0, so 0.50. So minimum 50-cent rate. Like we're going to take a 50-cent rate load. All right, so now we're talking 25,000 loads of van. So now keep in mind, this is end of the day. Landstar back east is already closed. So this is a lower number than you would normally see during the day. 25,000 loads for van. That means everything else, all flatbeds, step decks, all that stuff account for the other 14,000 loads. All right, so now let's narrow this down a little bit more here. This is both direct ship and third-party loads. Now, difference is third-party is basically everything that's out there in the public, all the public load boards, anything that's available to anybody else. That's all third-party loads, coming for double brokered stuff, all that kind of stuff. If I take those out and go with just Landstar exclusive loads, where the agent is working directly with the shipper or receiver, the customer, whoever it is, look at this. 1,476, about 1,500 loads. That's a huge difference right now. That's a huge difference. You're like, wow, it's a 23,000 load difference right there. Problem is, and I'm going to be honest with you with the Landstar board, of those 23,000 third-party loads, let's actually see exactly what that is here. Yeah, 23,741 third-party loads. There's probably only like 5,000, to be honest with you. A lot of duplicates. All the different agencies, they're competing against each other. And so you'll see the same exact load being posted by 5, 6, 7 different agencies. And then when that load gets covered, these agents, they don't know it. You know, the original broker doesn't go in and call everybody that might have this load posted. The broker usually doesn't even know. And these agents don't keep going back and checking these loads over and over and over to see if they're still available. So they leave them on the board. So these loads, you know, the majority of them, it sometimes feels when you're calling like 90% of them have already been covered. You know, so they're not real. Most of these are not real. But it's hard to say. I'm going to say 5,000. So really, we've only got like 6,000 to 7,000 loads available right now to us nationwide, right? Now, if we look at my criteria and the specific stuff that I look for personally, I'm a lazy trucker. I'm going to admit it. I'm a lazy trucker. I don't do hazmat. In the winter, I don't go up north for the winter. Although it's summer right now, so it's going to include all the states except Florida. Stay out of Florida for some obvious reasons and maybe some not so obvious reasons. Florida's just if you're truck driving, if you're anybody, just stay out of Florida. You know, unless you want to be in in the newspaper where it's that starts off Florida man, blah 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 blah. Yeah, and you all know what I'm talking about, the Florida man stories. Just stay out of Florida. It is just not worth it. Let's see. So, all states except for Florida and Alaska. I don't go to Alaska either because that's just not for me. Minimum $2.50 per mile, that's pretty low for me. Minimum $1,000 per load. $43,000 max weight, direct shipper only, not hazmat. Nationwide, regardless of where I'm picking up, 639 loads. That's it. 639 loads for me to choose from. And some of these loads are going to be in, picking up in New York or elsewhere. Let's take a look and see what the top load is, shall we? top load revenue-wise, from Memphis, Tennessee to Elk Grove, California, $6,245. $3.02 revenue. It's not bad. Picks up on the 13th, delivers on the 16th, so that's 4 days. 4 days, $6,200. I'm surprised that load is still here. That's a good load. If I was in or around Memphis, I would take that one. Looking at details, picks up at noon on the 13th, delivers at 9 p.m. on the 16th. That kind of sucks. That kind of tells me it's probably a grocery load. Let's see here. The weight on it, 35,000 pounds even, so yeah. But yeah, it's just general merchandise is what it's considered. So yeah, but it's a direct ship. It's preloaded too, so it's a drop and hook. Yeah, if I was in Tennessee, I'd probably end up taking this one. You know, it's going to Elk Grove, which maybe not the best area to be dropped off at, but within a reasonable amount of deadhead, you'll find a good load out of there. So yeah, so that's not bad. Next load, actually there are 5 of those loads. 5 of those loads. Picking up 13th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, and the 15th. Okay, so they're not in chronological order. But still, plenty of those loads. Agent CGI. I've worked with them. Good agency. So, yeah. I'd pick one of those up if I was in the area. Let's see. Culver, Indiana to Fullerton, California. Picking up on the 12th, delivering on the 20th. That's a 9-day load. 6 stops. So a lot of these agents right now are combining loads to make them look better than they really are. But yeah, 6 stops. So this one is actually not a combined load. It's one load and 6 unloads. Genoa City, Wisconsin at 9 a.m. Well, it picks up at 6 a.m. but it's not that bad. So Genoa City, Wisconsin, 9 a.m. Denver, Colorado, 8 a.m. Denver, Colorado again at 12 p.m. noon. Inglewood, Colorado, 8 a.m. So a lot of Colorado stuff. Albuquerque, 8 a.m. Corona, California, 8 a.m. And Fullerton, California, noon on the 20th. So yeah, that one is definitely, that's a 9-day load for $6,100, almost $6,200. That wouldn't be worth it to me. A lot of people would look at that and say $261 per mile, not too bad. But the fact that it's going to take you so long, you have so many stops, and they're going to say, oh, we'll include stop pay, STPI. Well, Landstar gets a cut of the stop pay. You know, they still get their same cut as if it's part of the line haul. So what does it matter? Forget the stop pay. I don't need that. Because I'm not going to get paid any more for it. So no, I would not take that load. All right, next one, we'll just do one more here. Greensboro, North Carolina to Greensboro, North Carolina. Round tripper. All right, $6,031. That's $332 per mile. 7 stops. Whew, 7 stops. All right, picks up on the 15th, delivers on the 20th. So that's 6 days. That's $6,000. So you're looking at $1,000 per day. You're just gonna have a lot of stops in there. Let's see, picks up at 15:30, delivers, final stop is at 12:15 noon. The different 7 stops. Newark, New Jersey, 3:45 a.m. Yeah, you heard me. Newark, 3:45 a.m. And then Elizabeth, New Jersey at noon. Menands, New York, the next morning at 5:35 in the morning. 5:35. You gotta wonder, at this point I might be calling the agent and saying, are these set appointments or are these like first come, first serves? You know, it just seems kind of weird. And then back to Newark for a 4:50 p.m. And then back to New York, Syracuse. And then back to Newark. And these are all unloads. Why are we going back and forth? These are questions I'd be asking the agent, because something does not seem right with this. Yeah, 6:43 a.m. Why? Something's not right here. And then back, yeah, Newark again, and then back to Greensboro, North Carolina. So something just doesn't sit right with that one. Oh, and it says no trailer needed. It's not listed as power only. But if it were power only, you get paid more for that, percentage-wise. So if I was in the area, I'd at least make that phone call and figure out about it. So anyways, these are the kind of the loads that are available here at the end of the day. The loads that are still left at the end of the day are the ones that have been picked over throughout the day, and they're still available. So there are good loads out there. My number one piece of advice for you, if you are looking for your loads: patience, patience, patience. You gotta have patience. Try and prepare early. If you get something early, great. If you're not getting anything, just wait and wait and wait. Keep that load alert going. Keep looking. So many times I've been in panic mode. I'm like, oh, I gotta get something. I gotta get something. It's only 2 days before I'm making this delivery. I gotta get something next. Oh, this load's crap. Oh, this load's, I might. As long as I have patience, I wait and I wait and I wait, and eventually something good is gonna come up. And as soon as it does, I am on that phone fast. Make that phone call, get that load, and make it happen. All right, man, 31 minutes on this video. Sorry it took so long, guys. I know I talked a lot. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the scenery behind me. Hopefully you guys could hear those ocean waves. Oh, they're so relaxing. I sleep with the balcony door open. Oh, it's so nice. Anyways, if you have any questions, throw them in the comments. Love to hear from you guys. And my next video is another how-to video. You're gonna like this how-to video along with some advice, something you need to be prepared to do, something you need to be prepared for, something you need to have a spare of. You need to have a spare. I'm just gonna leave it at that. You need to have a spare. What am I talking about? You'll find out in my next video. Talk to y'all later. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching this feature presentation from me, JJ the Trucker. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up or two. I appreciate it. That way I know which videos you're enjoying. And while you're at it, check out my shop below filled with tons of JJ the Trucker exclusive merchandise. And you know what to do now. That's right. You see it right there. Click on my face. Click on my face. Click on my face. You know you want to click on my face. Subscribe to my channel and not miss a single one of my future videos. And if you're new to my channel, here are a couple of my other great videos, such as the one YouTube is recommending or the one I'm recommending. Be safe out there. Later.